The movie starts with Jack. He slips and falls, and his phone drops straight into the lake. When he gets up, he notices a scratch on his hand. But then something strange happens. The phone's screen, which was completely broken, becomes perfectly fine as soon as he shakes the water off it. Even more surprisingly, when Jack returns home, the wound on his hand has also healed in a magical way. This gives Jack a big idea that maybe all this is happening because of the power of the lake water, since it healed both his wound and his phone. That evening during dinner, his sister Amber accidentally drops a plate, and seeing this gives Jack another idea. He collects all the broken items in the house, puts them into a bag, and takes them to the lake. When he comes back, all the old broken things inside the bag have magically turned brand new, and now Jack is completely sure that the lake truly has miraculous water. That same night, while his father was asleep, he quietly takes the urn containing his mother's ashes and heads toward the lake. He doesn't know that his sister Amber has seen him and is secretly following him. When Amber reaches the lake, she sees Jack taking a box out of his bag, and he looks very nervous. She realizes that it is actually their mother's urn. Jack wants to use the lake water to bring his mother back to life, but Amber doesn't know this, so she asks why he brought their mother's urn there. Jack panics and immediately lies, saying it's not an urn, but Amber doesn't believe him at all. The siblings start arguing, and the fight turns into playful pushing. During the struggle, Amber's sketchbook falls into the lake. Jack pulls it out with a stick, then firmly tells Amber not to tell anyone about what happened that night. Suddenly, a huge bubble starts rising from the lake, and Jack immediately realizes that the lake water is not normal at all. Something strange and dangerous is happening. Both siblings get scared and run away. Soon after, the lake water starts boiling, as if something terrifying is forming inside it. To avoid their father, they quietly climb back into their rooms through the window. Amber tells Jack something frightening. All the drawings in her sketchbook have disappeared. Jack is shocked, but then they hear a terrifying roar coming from the forest. Jack suddenly realizes that the lake may have absorbed Amber's drawings. The next morning, their father comes to wake the kids up, but surprisingly, Amber is so scared that she is hiding inside the wardrobe and refuses to come out. Their father asks what is going on, and Amber says she heard knocking on the window. He tries to calm her, saying it was probably a squirrel. But when Amber lifts the window blinds, the entire glass is smeared with yellow paint. After their father leaves, Amber rushes to Jack and starts asking about everything that happened the previous night. Just then, their father overhears the siblings talking. The father couldn't understand what his children were thinking, but as a caring parent, he tried to talk to Jack. In the end, Jack finally revealed the secret of the lake to his father. He explained that after their mother's death, Amber had become mentally disturbed and often drew strange and terrifying monsters in her sketchbook. Jack was afraid that if the lake had absorbed those drawings, the monsters might come to life and become a danger to everyone. Hearing this, the father was shocked at first, then told Jack to get into the car immediately. Jack realized that his father didn't believe a single word he said. The father dropped Jack and Amber at school and returned home to clean up the mess in the house. But then something strange and shocking happened. The plate that Amber had broken earlier was now magically repaired. Meanwhile, Jack and Amber were sitting on the school bus, and worry was clearly visible on Jack's face. Suddenly, Amber looked out the window and saw tiny stars floating in the air, and then a huge blue hand emerged from the fields. Within moments, a large, round, terrifying monster rose into the sky. Amber was stunned because it was the exact same monster she had drawn in her sketchbook. The monster looked extremely violent. The school bus driver panicked and sped up to escape, but the angry monster chased the bus and finally rammed into it hard. The bus rolled over into the cornfields, but luckily the fields acted as a buffer, so none of the children were injured. The bus driver, however, was in shock and unable to react. Jack checked everyone and saw that the kids were safe, but then they realized the monster was still waiting outside, so he asked Amber how they could get rid of it. After thinking for a moment, Amber said that maybe if they played a song, the monster would fall asleep. Jack immediately got an idea and looked at his bag, thinking they should play a lullaby to put the monster to sleep. But before they could act, the situation got worse. The monster pushed its long tentacles into the bus and started searching for the children. At that moment, a young boy quickly took out his phone and played a lullaby. Slowly, the monster's eyes grew heavy, and finally it collapsed and fell asleep. Jack and the other children quickly escaped from the bus and ran out of the cornfield. Fortunately, the monster wasn't very dangerous, so it didn't chase Jack and his friends. They all ran toward the forest. In the middle of the forest, Amber suddenly stopped. Jack panicked and asked, "Why did you stop?" Amber said, "The way that monster attacked the moving bus is exactly the same scene I drew in my sketchbook." Jack was shocked and quickly asked if there were more scenes in her drawings. Amber lowered her head, and Jack realized with horror that even more dangers were still coming. Just then, a small curly-haired boy couldn't run fast enough and got separated from Jack and Amber. He wandered alone into the forest and saw a huge sunflower that looked calm and harmless. The boy tried to scare it away, but the sunflower didn't move at all. As soon as he got closer, the sunflower suddenly flared up and screamed loudly. The scream was so terrifying that it woke up a giant blind monster in the forest. Hearing the sound, the monster rushed toward it, opened its bloody jaws, and attacked the boy. Because the monster was blind, it attacked only by following sounds, and this time it aimed correctly and almost bit the boy. But just in time, Jack and Amber arrived and saved him. However, the danger wasn't over yet. The sunflower monster started chasing them again and kept screaming loudly so the blind monster could track their location. Suddenly, Jack got an idea. He grabbed the sunflower monster and threw it into the nearby water. Because all these monsters were made from Amber's sketchbook markers, and the moment they touched water, they could dissolve and be destroyed. The sunflower monster melted away in the water, but there still wasn't enough water to completely destroy the blind monster. Even after the sunflower monster was gone, the blind monster remained alive, so Amber started throwing stones far away to distract it and give everyone a chance to escape. At the same time, Jack and Amber's father was at home, staring at the plate that had been broken earlier but had mysteriously repaired itself. Suddenly, the phone started ringing. He searched everywhere and finally found it under the cabinet. Even stranger, a coffee cup he had used that morning was sitting in the corner, and when he picked it up, he saw a red ball-like object stuck to it. Looking closely, it turned out to be a red spider, which he immediately killed. Just then, the aunt came in and told him that the school had called. The police had found the crashed school bus. The father and aunt rushed to the location, but by the time they arrived, Jack and the other children were already far away, and even the monster had disappeared. Now the father and aunt began searching everywhere for the children. After seeing the repaired plate and the red spider, the father finally believed that Jack had been telling the truth about the lake and the monsters. Suddenly, a small animal crossed the road, forcing them to stop the car. They got out, but there was no animal body to be found. A strange cat appeared in front of them. At first glance, it looked cute, but something about it was different from normal animals. The father immediately stopped the aunt and warned her not to touch the cat. That's when the truth was revealed. The cat suddenly showed its real form, and 6 spider-like legs burst out from its body. The innocent-looking cat was actually extremely violent. It flipped the car with full force and then ran away. Now the father and aunt were left without a vehicle, so they had no choice but to continue on foot. As they walked, they saw that the entire town had become filled with terrifying creatures. Strange monsters were hiding everywhere, and the most frightening part was that these creatures had started attacking humans. Realizing this, Jack decided he had to do something new to stop the monsters. He had said he would create a weapon, but the problem was that all these monsters were born from Amber's sketchbook and were filled with her negative emotions, making them hard to destroy. After thinking deeply, Jack began drawing. After a long struggle, he finally created a weapon. However, this launcher couldn't truly become real until they all returned to the lake. So Jack began preparing. He made water guns and filled them with water and detergent, which would be their ammunition. He carefully packed the drawing into his bag, and in the same bag was his mother's ashes. Jack still hadn't given up hope of bringing his mother back to life. Just then, the small curly-haired boy said he needed to use the bathroom. But as soon as he went inside, he saw the place was filled with red spiders. Jack immediately ran to help him and crushed many of the spiders. But by then the spiders had spread throughout the entire house. Red spiders filled every corner, making the atmosphere even more terrifying. Jack quickly grabbed a water gun and ran toward Amber's room. But there were so many spiders that the water gun seemed useless. Finally, Jack, Amber, and Curly locked themselves inside the bathroom. From there, they searched around and attacked all the red spiders until they completely destroyed them. After the fight, the 3 of them sat there exhausted, breathing heavily and silently waiting to make sure no spiders were left. Once they had rested, they decided they had to head straight to the mysterious lake. While walking, Amber grew tired and collapsed. Jack helped her up but spoke angrily, and his words hurt Amber deeply. She asked him, "Why did you bring Mom's ashes with you?" Jack panicked, and his eyes started darting around nervously. Amber clearly said that maybe it wasn't just her, but Jack had a lot of problems inside him too. After that, the siblings silently separated. Jack decided to go to the lake alone. After walking a little distance, he noticed that the red spiders were stealing items from his house and piling them up in the forest. There, he also found some of Amber's old drawings. One drawing surprised Jack. It showed himself holding a sword, bravely protecting his sister. At that moment, he heard a strange gurgling sound from the lake. Jack slowly moved toward it and saw a man dressed in black dragging his body toward the lake. The man threw one of his paintings into the water. Suddenly, the lake started to bubble, and a terrifying black monster leaped out. The man then sat down and began creating new drawings with markers. There were piles of markers on the ground, and no one knew how many monsters he had already created. Jack was scared, but he gathered courage and picked up the drawing of his weapon to fight. Unfortunately, the painting slipped from his hands. The man in black grabbed Jack's painting, shouted, and tore it into pieces. Jack ran back to Amber and told them everything. Amber explained, "That man is is actually my dark side. Your selfish, angry, and negative part. Jack took a deep breath and said to his sister, "No, that thing is nothing like you. You are smart, funny, and care for everyone. Some bad drawings don't make you a bad person." Saying this, Jack cut out a new drawing with scissors and showed it to his sister, saying, "This is you." Amber smiled when she saw it. The drawing was actually a diamond sword. Eber said, "I know you love playing Minecraft. I've always wanted to give you this sword." Jack looked at his sister and apologized for his previous words. Now they were ready to face the man in black together. They planned to defeat the man in black. Curly Hair Boy started teasing the man in black to lure him away from the lake. But he faced a serious problem because the monsters created by the man in black had already spread throughout the forest. Panicking, he ran in the opposite direction. Jack and Amber thought Curly Hair Boy had succeeded, so they went near the lake to create more weapons. However, the real shock came when they realized the man in black had never left the lake. Jack angrily tried to scare him with fire, but it had no effect. Just when the man in black was about to eliminate Jack, Amber quickly made a new drawing. From that drawing, black tentacles emerged and tightly trapped the man in black. Jack immediately drew his sword and, together with his sister, fought the man in black fiercely. Meanwhile, Curly Hair Boy was still surrounded by monsters and was close to defeat. At that moment, Jack's father and aunt arrived just in time. They fought with all their strength, saving him and destroying many monsters. At the same time, Jack and Amber put all their effort into defeating the man in black once and for all. Jack ran alone to the lake. Upon reaching it, he threw his drawing into the water. As soon as it landed, it magically transformed into a real weapon. Lights exploded into the sky like fireworks, red, orange, and blue spreading across the heavens. The sight was so beautiful that it felt like a dream world had descended to Earth. But it wasn't just a show. This was actually the weapon that Jack had created. The light from Jack's weapon shot down like falling stars toward the ground. It felt as if these beams had eyes, targeting the monsters directly. All the monsters standing on the ground suddenly froze in fear. Even if they wanted to run, they couldn't. Helpless, they were struck by the falling meteor-like lights. But this was Jack's weapon, and the result was clear. Every monster was destroyed. After the monsters were gone, Jack picked up the urn containing his mother's ashes. Just then, his father arrived behind him. He said, "Before you do anything, listen to me. I know you miss your mother a lot. I do too. I may not have shown it, but the truth is I love both you and Amber very much. But the truth is, we shouldn't run from pain. I've let you down." There was regret in his father's eyes. He admitted that he had always seen Eber's pain and given her love, but he had never understood Jack's pain. Jack had always been calm, taking care of his sister, but inside, he was the one most broken by their mother's death. Jack couldn't bring his mother back to life because the urn had broken in the battle, scattering her ashes. But his father didn't scold him. Instead, he hugged him tightly. Here, the real truth becomes clear. Though Jack was small, he had carried the weight of his sister's struggles on his shoulders. He was broken himself, yet he never showed it to anyone. That was his greatest strength. In the end, everything returned to normal. The family reunited. Amber no longer painted scary monsters, but instead focused on the good things in life.